compared 5 car batteries over 3 winters, only one started. 65% of car battery failures happen to trusted name brands, not cheap off-brand replacements, not neglected vehicles, the DieHards, the Optimas, the batteries your father swore by. Meanwhile, a brand AutoZone won't stock survived 3 brutal Minnesota winters without a single failure. Why don't you know about it? Because there's no money in it for anyone to tell you. Today, that changes. I'm revealing all 5 results from a 3-year controlled test and which battery actually won. Stick around. Number 1 made me stop recommending name brands for good. Let's expose them all. The test setup. Before we get to results, you need to understand exactly how this test was run. Because if the conditions aren't controlled, the numbers don't mean anything. 5 battery brands, 3 consecutive Minnesota winters, all Group 65 batteries, all rated 750 cca. Every single one installed in identical 2018 Honda Accords from the same dealer at the same time. Same engine, same alternator, same everything. The only variable was the battery. Temperatures hit -10 to -22 degrees Fahrenheit regularly. No garage. Every car parked outside overnight, every night. Cold starts at 6 a.m., 7 days a week. Maintenance was identical across all 5. Terminals cleaned monthly. Charging systems verified annually. No parasitic draws. No short trips. Perfect maintenance. Every car. The entire time. If a battery failed in this test, it failed because of what it was, not how it was treated. Every battery got every advantage. No excuses. Before the rankings, you need to understand why cold weather is the only honest test a battery can face. Why cold kills weak batteries. Most people think cold weather causes batteries to die. It doesn't. Cold weather exposes the failure that was already there. It just removes every place to hide.
Here's what's actually happening at 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
First, the chemistry slows. Batteries produce electricity through a reaction between lead plates and sulfuric acid. Cold hits the brakes on that reaction hard. At 0 degrees, a fully charged battery delivers only 40% of its rated cranking power. That 750 cca battery is putting out roughly 300 amps when you need every single one. Second, the oil thickens. At 0 degrees, 5W30 becomes something close to molasses. The starter needs 2 to 3 times more power to turn the engine over than on a warm morning. More power needed at the exact moment the battery can deliver less. Third, internal resistance climbs. More of the battery's power burns off as heat before it reaches the starter. Less available, more needed, more wasted. That's the combination that kills weak batteries and stresses even good ones. Here's what auto parts stores will never tell you. A battery can test perfectly in October. 12.6 volts, 720 amps, passes everything. January comes, -5 degrees, dead. The cold didn't cause that failure. The cold just told the truth. I proved this before the formal test began. A customer's battery load tested fine at 70 degrees, failed marginally at 20, complete failure at 0. Same battery, same charge, 3 temperatures, 3 different stories. Cold is the only test that can't be gamed. That's why I ran 3 winters. Not 1, not 2, 3. Now, the results. Battery number 5, EverStart Max 65, $129, Walmart. The budget choice. Johnson Controls manufactures these, the same company that builds higher-end batteries under other brand names. Same factory, different label. Quality should hold up, right? Wrong. Winter one started quietly. November, December, temperatures between 20 and 40 degrees. Every battery performs when it's easy. Then January arrived. -8 degrees on a Monday morning. The EverStart cranked, slowly. 8 full seconds of painful grinding before the engine caught. Voltage under load, 9.1 volts. Weakest battery in the test after just 4 months. February, -8 again. The EverStart was done. Couldn't crank fast enough to fire the engine. Voltage dropped to 8.4. First catastrophic failure of the entire 3-year test. I jump-started it. It recovered. But it had already failed the only test that matters. Winter 2 was a death spiral. -12 in January. Failed again. 8.2 volts. Second catastrophic failure in 14 months. I recharged it fully. 10 hours at 2 amps. Everything correct. Next morning at -10, it barely started after 9 seconds of grinding. Then -22 hit. The coldest morning of the entire test. The EverStart was dead. Not slow. Not struggling, Dead. Plates physically damaged from repeated, deep discharge cycles. 2 years old. Done. Here's the math that should make you angry. You save $60 over an interstate buying the EverStart, but you're replacing it every 2 years in a cold climate instead of every 4. You're not saving money. You're spending more and getting stranded. A customer bought EverStarts for both his cars 3 years running. 6 batteries in 36 months. 2 quality batteries from the start would have cost less and he'd never have thought about it again. I showed him the numbers. He switched. Hasn't been back for a battery since. The EverStart works fine in Florida. Garage-kept cars in mild climates. But if you park outside in a real winter, this battery will leave you stranded. I just showed you exactly when. If you think spending more automatically fixes the problem, wait until you see what happened to a battery that costs $50 more and died almost as fast. Battery number 4, DieHard Advanced Gold 65, $179, Advanced Auto Parts. DieHard, the legendary name, the brand your father bought, the commercials with the battery that just wouldn't quit. That reputation took decades to build.
Those days are over.
Winter 1 January, -8 degrees. The DieHard started, but only after 5 seconds of labored cranking. Voltage 9.4, marginal for a brand new battery. I expected more, the price demanded more. February, -18, 12 full seconds of slow cranking before the engine caught. Voltage 9.2, barely adequate. My stomach dropped watching it. A premium battery, first winter, struggling like this. Winter 2 accelerated the decline. -12 in January, 15+ seconds of grinding effort. Voltage 8.9, visibly dying, degrading faster than a battery costing $60 less. Then came -22. The DieHard failed completely. Voltage 8.1, wouldn't crank at all. I recharged it for 2 full days. Slow charge, proper equipment. Severe sulfation had set in on the plates. It recovered enough to start in mild temperatures, living on borrowed time. December of year 3, -6 degrees. Not even extreme cold by Minnesota standards. The DieHard died permanently. 2 years and 3 months. I cut it open. Lead plates measured 1.4 millimeters thick, paper thin, less than half the thickness of the battery that won this test. Less material means less capacity. Less power, shorter life, simple physics. No marketing budget changes what's inside the case. Here's what drives me crazy. The DieHard brand has changed hands multiple times since those old commercials. Quality changed with every transition. The price never followed. You're paying $179 for a name that peaked in 1994. A friend's father bought DieHards for 30 years straight. Never let me down, he always said. Every single time. Last January, his DieHard died at -8 in a parking garage downtown. He sat in the cold for 2 hours waiting for a jump, missed a work meeting, switched to an interstate the same week and hasn't looked back. 30 years of loyalty meant nothing at -8 on a Tuesday morning. Now it gets really interesting. The next battery costs $249, markets itself as the ultimate premium option. Iconic design, advanced technology. It performed worse than the $189 battery above it in this list. And hey, if this kind of honest testing is already saving you money, hit that subscribe button right now. Battery number 3, Optima Red, top 65, $249, various retailers. This one hurt to write. The Optima Red top, that distinctive red case, spiral wound AGM technology, a $249 price tag that signals quality the moment you pick it up. The look of a winner, the feel of a winner, the marketing of a winner. It is not a winner, not even close. Winter 1 seemed acceptable. -8 degrees, 3 to 4 seconds of slow cranking. Voltage 9.8 volts, adequate, barely. For a battery costing $70 more than the interstate running beside it. February at -18. 4 seconds, voltage 9.6, right at the threshold of acceptable performance. A $249 battery should not be at the threshold of acceptable in its first winter. Winter 2 is where it fell apart. -12 in January, 6 seconds of slow cranking, voltage 9.4, dropping faster than a battery $60 cheaper. Then came -22, the moment of truth. The Optima failed, couldn't fire the engine, voltage 8.6 volts. The $189 interstate started that same morning. The $249 Optima did not. Let that sit for a second. I recharged the Optima overnight. It recovered enough to start at -15 the next day. But the pattern was clear. Winter 3 finished it. January at -14, failed. February at -18, dead. Voltage 7.9. wouldn't recover. 2 years and 3 months for $249. Think about that for a second. $249, 2 winters, done. The $129 EverStart at least has price as an excuse. The Optima has nothing. I cut it open after the test. Plates measured 1.9 millimeters thick, actually thinner than the Interstate's 2.0. The spiral configuration forces the plates narrower to fit the wound design. Form over function, a gorgeous battery that fails when it counts. That red case is the most expensive paint job in the battery aisle. Here's what Optima will never put in an advertisement. Spiral wound AGM does not outperform flat plate AGM in cold weather. The engineering that makes it look impressive on a shelf is the same engineering that compromises its performance at negative 22 degrees. A customer brought me his Optima receipt not long ago. $249 plus $25 installation. Dead after 2 Minnesota winters. He stood in my shop genuinely furious. Felt like he'd been lied to. He had been. I showed him the test data. He runs an Interstate now. Won't even consider an Optima again. The next battery costs $140 less than the Optima. No flashy design, no Super Bowl commercials. And it outperformed the Optima in every single measurable category across all 3 winters. Battery number 2, Interstate MTP65, $189. Interstate dealer, the mechanic's choice. The one we actually recommend when customers ask what we'd put in our own cars. The Interstate survived all 3 winters without a single catastrophic failure. Winter 1, negative 8 degrees, started immediately, voltage 10.2 volts, confident from the very first cold morning. February at the same temperature that ended the EverStart, started perfectly, voltage 10.0, no drama, no hesitation. Winter 2, negative 12, started immediately, voltage 9.9. Minimal degradation after a full year of Minnesota abuse. While the Optima sat at 9.4 and the DieHard ground toward its final weeks, the Interstate kept showing up. Then came negative 22. The morning 3 batteries died. The EverStart, dead. The DieHard, dead permanently. The $249 Optima failed. The Interstate started after 3 seconds. Voltage 9.7, weakening, but it started. It always started. That's the whole story. Winter 3 showed honest aging. Resting voltage in October, 12.58. Negative 14 in January, 4 seconds. Negative 8 in February, 8 seconds. Approaching end of life. 6 months to a year of reliable service remaining. But here's the thing. It never left anyone stranded. Not once in 3 brutal winters. It weakened, gave warning, and kept doing its job until the end. That is what reliability actually looks like. Plates measure 2.0 millimeters thick, significantly better than the DieHard's 1.4. Better lead, fewer impurities, tighter tolerances, better separators, boring engineering details that don't make good commercials. They make batteries that work. Here's what auto parts stores hope you never stop to notice. They make significantly fatter margins on Optima and DieHard than on Interstate. When you ask for an Interstate, their profit drops. Same game tire shops play. The product they push hardest isn't the one that performs best. It's the one that pays them most. One more thing. Costco sells Interstate under the Kirkland signature label. Same factories, same specs, same warranty. $20 to $30 cheaper than auto parts store pricing. If you have a membership, that is the best value in the consumer battery market. Interstate reliability at near EverStart pricing. That's the cheat code. Now, the winner. I saved it for last because it genuinely surprised me after 20 years in this business. This battery doesn't just survive winter. It makes winter look like it wasn't even trying. Battery number 1, Odyssey 65-PC1750, $329. I know what you're thinking. $329 for a car battery is insane. Hear me out. Look at every single number. Do the math at the end. Then tell me I'm wrong. The Odyssey didn't just win this test. It embarrassed every other battery in it. Winter 1, negative 8 degrees. Started instantly. Full cranking speed from the very first turn. Voltage 10.4 volts, the highest reading of any battery across every cold morning of the entire test. February at negative 18, the morning that had already killed the EverStart. The Odyssey started immediately. Voltage 10.3, not 10.1, 10.3. Dominant from the first cold morning to the last. Winter 2 is where it gets remarkable. 1 full year of use. 1 brutal winter already behind it. Exactly where every other battery started cracking. -12 degrees. Instant start. Voltage 10.2. Virtually no degradation from year 1. While the Optima dropped to 9.4 and the DieHard ground toward its final weeks, the Odyssey performed like it came off the factory floor that morning. Then came -22. The morning the EverStart was permanently destroyed. The morning the DieHard died for good. The morning the $249 Optima couldn't fire the engine. The Odyssey started immediately. Voltage 10.1 in -22-degree weather after 2 full years of Minnesota winters. Like a warm Tuesday in September, let that land. Winter 3, I load tested it before the cold arrived. 98% of original rated capacity after 2 Minnesota winters. I've tested batteries for 20 years. I've never seen that number after 2 winters in this climate. December at -6, the temperature that killed the DieHard, instant start. January at -14, the temperature that broke the Optima, instant start. February at -18, the last test of the entire experiment, started immediately. Voltage 9.9, 3 winters, -22, 0 failures, 0.
I cut all 5 batteries open for the post-test autopsy. This is where the mystery ends.
The Odyssey's plates measured 2.8 millimeters thick, the Optima's 1.9. The DieHard and EverStart 1.4, nearly double the active material of its nearest competitor. More material means more capacity. More capacity means more power. More power means longer life. That's not marketing, that's chemistry. It's just expensive to build this way, which is why almost nobody bothers. Pure flat plate AGM with tighter plate compression than anything else in this test. Higher quality glass mat separators. Electrolyte fully absorbed. No free acid to freeze or stratify. And the detail that surprised me most, brass terminals. Every other battery developed corrosion within weeks of cleaning despite monthly maintenance. Lead corrodes, brass doesn't. The Odyssey held near perfect electrical contact for 3 full years without the resistance buildup that slowly bleeds power from every other battery on the market. This is the same battery used in military vehicles and aircraft support equipment. Applications where failure isn't an inconvenience, it's a mission over. That engineering is sitting in your Honda's engine bay for $329. A fleet manager in North Dakota ran Odysseys across 8 work trucks for 7 straight winters. 7. Never replaced a single one ahead of schedule. He ran the numbers against what his previous fleet spent swapping DieHards every 2 winters across all 8 vehicles. The Odyssey fleet saved $4,200 over 5 years from batteries alone. Here's why you've never seen an Odyssey commercial during a football game. Battery retailers make lower margins on it. A battery that lasts 6 to 8 years is 2 or 3 future sales they'll never collect. No end cap at AutoZone. No celebrity holding one up. Just engineering that produces results. If anyone ever bothers to tell you it exists, now you know. The math that ends the argument.
Let me make this impossible to argue with, because some of you are still looking at that $329 price tag. The EverStart costs $129, lasts 2 years in cold climates. That's $64.50 per year.
The DieHard costs $179, lasts about 2.5 years. That's $71.60 per year. Worse value than the cheapest battery in this test. The Optima costs $249, 2.5 years. That's $99.60 per year, the worst value in the test, by a mile. The Interstate costs $189, 3 to 4 years. That's $47 to $63 per year, solid. The Odyssey costs $329, still at 98% capacity at 3 years. Conservative estimate, 6 to 8 years. That's $41 to $55 per year. The most expensive battery is the cheapest battery you can buy. The cheapest battery is one of the most expensive when you do the actual math. Price tags lie. Cost per year tells the truth. Mistakes that kill even the best battery. Even an Odyssey dies early if you're making these mistakes. And I promise at least one applies to you right now. Short trips are the silent killer. Anything under 15 minutes doesn't replace the energy the starter pulled. Your starter draws 100 to 300 amps in a few seconds. The alternator needs 20 to 30 minutes to pay that back. Do nothing but 10-minute errands for weeks and your battery starves 1 partial charge at a time. Sulfation builds, capacity drops and doesn't come back. I had a customer, retired teacher, drove 5 minutes to the grocery store petrol twice a week. 3 batteries in 4 years. Same car, same climate. I told her to take one 30-minute drive every Sunday. Her next battery lasted 6.5 years. One habit changed. Corroded terminals steal power without you knowing it. Corrosion creates resistance between the clamp and post. That resistance means the battery never reaches a full charge, even with the alternator running perfectly. It sulfates quietly and dies years early. You never find out why. A customer came in convinced he had a lemon car. 3rd battery in 4 years. I looked at his terminals, green crust everywhere. Cleaned them, showed him monthly maintenance. That battery lasted 7 more years. Same car, same climate, clean terminals. Parasitic draws murder batteries overnight. A trunk light stuck on. A faulty amplifier. A glove box bulb that never goes dark. These drain over 100 milliamps while the car sits. Normal draw is 20 to 50. Anything above that is a slow death every night. Test annually with a multimeter. Find it, fix it. Deep discharging damages the plates permanently. Headlights left on overnight. Radio running with the engine off. Each deep discharge removes capacity that doesn't return. If it happens, charge immediately with a proper battery charger, slow and controlled. Don't jumpstart and drive. The alternator isn't built to recover a deeply discharged battery. Choosing the right battery for your climate. Battery choice has to match where you live. This is the advice nobody gives you. Cold climates. Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, northern New England. Buy the highest CCA AGM you can afford. The Odyssey is the correct answer. The Interstate, if the price is out of reach. Everything else in this test is a gamble you'll lose at the worst moment. Moderate climates with occasional freezing. Pacific Northwest, Mid-Atlantic, Intermountain West. The Interstate delivers outstanding service without overspending. The Odyssey if you keep vehicles a long time. Hot climates. Phoenix, Houston, Las Vegas, South Florida. Heat destroys batteries faster than cold through accelerated chemical reactions and electrolyte evaporation. Flooded batteries in desert climates die in 2 to 3 years. A GM resists heat damage far better. The Odyssey dominates extreme heat just as thoroughly as extreme cold. Match the battery to your climate, not the price tag. The bottom line. 20 years of working on cars and testing batteries. The pattern never changes. Customers who buy based on engineering save $500 or more over 5 years and never get stranded. The ones who buy names fund Super Bowl commercials and call roadside assistance from parking lots in January. Odyssey if you want 0 failures and the lowest real cost per year. Interstate or Costco Kirkland for great performance without the premium price. Skip the Optima, the DieHard, and the EverStart entirely if you live anywhere with a real winter. 3 years, 5 batteries. The data doesn't leave room for argument. Don't be the person buying a 6th battery in 3 years because the name sounded reliable. You know better now. Which battery are you running right now? Drop it in the comments with your climate and how long it's lasted. I want to see whether your experience matches what this test showed me. If this saved you from making the wrong call next time you're standing in that auto parts aisle, hit that like button. Subscribe so you never waste money on a battery that fails the moment you actually need it. There's a video on your screen right now that'll save you even more money under the hood. Click it on the left and I'll meet you there.